All right, it's a holiday, it's a new year. We're going to start with a little bit of humor. All right? Let's see. My goal was to lose 10 pounds this year. Only 15 to go. All right, let's see here. What we got? There are so many scams on the internet nowadays. Send me 1995 and I will tell you how to avoid it. All right? Of course. Like that is scam. How much of an allowance did you get as a teenager per week? Me, I was allowed to live there. So everybody can identify with that. All right. If you think you're smarter than the previous generation, 50 years ago, the owner's manual of a car showed you how to adjust the valves. Today it warns you not to drink the bad contents of the battery. So we may have lost something. Thank you for saving the trouble of having to do the math. 15 pack, 3 cans more. Let's see. 12, 30. Yeah, that helped me out. Boy. I don't know about this one. I hope I don't get in trouble. As much as Pooh missed Piglet, he really did enjoy that pull for exam. Too much? Okay. All right, one more. I think I did a sport. I like it so much. Today at Starbucks, when I placed my order, I gave the name Spartacus. When I called my name, I said, "I am Spartacus." Everyone turned to look at me. Then an old man sitting in the corner stood up. "No, I am Spartacus." Then one by one, everyone in the Starbucks stood up and said, "I am Spartacus." Today's going to be a good day. So, now everybody has watched the Spartacus movie, right? Yes. Because you're saying, what's that? What is that? If you have not, make that a New Year's resolution. Watch Spartacus, okay? That's a classic. You need to watch Spartacus movie. All right. Well, anyhow. Wonder what's going to happen in 2023. We obviously don't know, do we? Is China going to invade Taiwan? Looks like a possibility. Is Ukraine and Russia going to have peace? We hope so. Are we going to have recession? Probably. Are they going to conquer inflation this year? Probably not. Is North Korea keep acting like an idiot? Yes. That one we know. They will. It's the only thing we know. The truth is, we don't know what's going to happen globally. We don't know what's going to happen in America. We don't even know what's going to happen in our church and to us individually, do we? No. We do not know what's going to happen in 2023. But I don't want us to walk in fear. I like this saying I think I have up here, reasons why I'm not worried, God. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned about some things, or that we shouldn't pray, or we shouldn't try to stand for what's right. I'm just saying, for 2023, as we look at a new year, we know there is a God. The best thing we can do, since we don't know what's going to happen, is stay close to Him and do His will. Trust Him. Walk in faith with God, because that's all what we can do every year, including this one. Now, what I want to talk about today is keeping the enthusiasm, or keeping the fire. Because so many times I have a problem keeping the fire. Let's look at this verse, really good verse. Never be lazy. Now let me stop there. Taking a day off is not lazy. Taking Sunday off is not lazy. Taking a vacation is not lazy. Taking holidays is not lazy. I say that on God's truth. He's the one who made days of rest for us. So I'm not talking about rest and being lazy. But when you never work, that's lazy. Okay? And He said, don't be lazy, never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. And it says in a couple verses like KJV, with a fervent spirit. So if you want to say keeping the fervency, that's all right. If you want to say keeping the fire, that's all right. But we need something to keep that enthusiasm, because that is how we're supposed to serve the Lord. And here's what I think. What is happening in the and if maybe you've seen these statistics, how many people in the Western world, including the United States now, who once went to church, who once said they walked with God, are now leaving church, and many even leaving God. Now, you know what I think happens? I think you lose the fire first, then you lose the faith. Yes. That's what started first, and there's such a danger of losing the fire. Just not caring as much, not being, you know, you used to, oh boy, I got to be in church on Sunday. Now there's people that don't care they're in church on Sunday. Used to be, I got to go pray about this, and now it's I got to go read another book or ask my psychologist, which is all right. But we left where we once were. It's easy to just, this world is just working on. You remember how cold it was just before Christmas? That's supposed to get to 70, and it was -1. And we all had to probably have a fire going somehow. Either you had a furnace fire, or a wood fire, or you had electricity heating it up, or you'd have froze to death. That's what this world is. This is a cold world spiritually many times. And if we don't get some fire somewhere, we're going to grow cold. I don't care who you are, where you've been, or what you've done. We need to keep the fire, and we need to do something about that. Or we're like, if I got this here, we're like this guy. They pull me back in. That's the world. It wants to just pull you back in. Now the Bible talks about the world, the flesh. Everybody know what that's from, right? What movie? Yes. Have you seen The Godfather, Wanda?
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. Not Spartacus, not The Godfather. I tell you what. These are important parts of your life. No, I'm just. The world, the flesh, and the devil. The Bible talks about the world. Somebody said is systemic evil. It's just an evil that greed and wrong, pulling us away from God. The flesh is an internal evil. Something in our own heart that pulls us to selfishness and away from helping others and away from doing God's will. And a supernatural evil of the devil. Now the devil doesn't cause all the evil, but let's not get in the fool that he doesn't cause any trouble. He does. He is, I believe he's about in different things in our governments, in our institutions, in our media, in our educational establishments. He is working hard and heavy. So between the world evil and the evil coming right out of here in you and the supernatural evil, it keeps trying to pull us away from God, to lose the fire. And so that's why I want to talk about 7 ways to keep the enthusiasm, to keep the fire. Right? 7 ways. All right. Number 1, remember that we are what we eat. We are what we eat. You eat pizza, you look like a big pizza. That's why. No, look at this. I like this little cartoon. Yeah. These aren't Weight Watchers diet pills. You've been reading them upside down. Well, they were Weight Watchers. They're M&Ms. No wonder. So, you know, if you've made a resolution to get fit in 2023, you can't eat a dozen donuts every morning. Okay, you can have once in a while at church, but you are what you eat. If you're only eating donuts, you're not going to be physically fit. And so this is the same way in our lives, in our mind, in our heart. The term GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, and it refers to this. The quality of output is determined by the quality of input. In computers, the quality of output is determined by the quality of input. And it's the same thing in our lives. The quality of what's coming out of your life is determined by what are you putting into your life. What are you putting into your brain? What are you putting into your heart? That determines whether you keep the fire, how you'll think, how you'll live. And so we need good things coming in. I'm not saying, let's take for example the news. I like to keep up with the news some, but if I watch the news all the time, I'm mad and depressed all the time. Because it keeps you angry. What? Yes. Or sad. I can't believe this. So, you know, because that's how what sells. Not the good stuff. So, get a little bit of donut or news. You know, or whatever. Playing games. Watching TV. You can do a little of that, get away. But if you're only doing that, watching nonsense all the time, what are you getting good in your life? So we need to make sure we have a steady diet of some good stuff. From the Bible, good books, good stuff we listen to, wherever. Let's get some good input. All right, number 2, remember others. In other words, don't just think about yourself. What others am I remembering? All right, Christians who've already run the race. The Bible says we're surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. They've already run the race. When we think about we've got it so tough in 21st century America, let's think about how some had trouble in past years. The early Christians and being persecuted. So, or just think about those and remember, well, people have had it tough throughout history. Or when we think about others who are serving God right now. One of the reasons Elijah was discouraged is he thought he was alone. Remember that? God said, you're not alone. There's others who haven't bowed the knee to Baal. We are not alone. If you're taking a stand, trying to do right, you're not alone. There's others all over this world, and that's what my last video is going to be about. I'm looking forward to seeing. We're just not us, or Christians. People are serving God and facing trouble in it. Think of the Christians right now in China who have to do it in hiding, or Iran. And then think about what we have. All right, your family and friends. Think about others. Think about them. What happens to them if you grow cold in the Lord? If there's anybody you care about, then care enough to stay close to God. Because they need you and me to stay close to God. More than ever do they need us to keep the fire. So do not say, well, I've done my time, I've done my part, I'm just a cool off now, I'm just going to ease up. That's not what we need. And that's not what your family needs. That's not what your friends need. If you have anybody you care about that is a Christian walking with struggles, they need you to keep the fire. If you have somebody you care about who's not a Christian, they're still looking in your life, they need you to keep the fire. Those who have fallen. As I said it already, those people who have left God, left walking with Him. It didn't start with one day they woke up and said, I don't believe in God. I believe it started when they missed church one Sunday. When they didn't pray like they used to pray. When they decided, I don't think I'll keep reading the Bible this year. When they just started to cool off and let somebody else do the work. Think about others who have needs. Even people, I'm saying here, people you don't even care about. There's Christians and unsaved people who do notice your lives, even if you don't realize it. Stay true to God. Think about others. You say, well, we've just got a smaller church here. But what an awesome responsibility to think about the eternal souls that you can help encourage or you can help discourage by your actions and your words. Well, I don't do that much. I have a couple children, or I have a few grandchildren. What an awesome responsibility to keep the fire for your children and your grandchildren. Who are watching your lives? Well, I can't preach, I can't sing, and I work in a place where there's no Christians. What an awesome responsibility to work in a dark place where nobody else has a light but you.
Amen.
We have to keep the fire to remember others. Remember God. I love this verse in Hebrews 11. It was by faith that Moses left the land of Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He kept right on going. That's what we're talking about. He kept right on going because he kept his eyes on the one who is invisible. What a great verse. He kept his eyes on the one who is invisible, who you can't see, but you see everything he does. And that's who we have to keep focusing on God. Remember these things. Remember God. I know it's sometimes hard when the world looks scary and people give you trouble and it looks like nothing's happened. But we have to focus on God because He is always at work. Always something is happening with God. Number 4, remember good habits. I don't know if anybody made resolutions. We talking about it at the front door, and many of us said we resolved to quit making resolutions. So But if you're making resolutions, that's all right. But you have to do something to make them work. And that is good habits. Continual success, somebody said, is a result of repeated good habits. Continual failure is a result of repeated bad habits. And we need good ones instead of bad. Anybody know who Jim Ryan is? You remember Jim Ryan? What he did? What he's famous for? First man to run a 4-minute mile. Okay, this has been a while, so that was a little harder. Also a Christian man, and was a congressman for a while. He said this: motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. You think about your habits of life. If you just say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds this year. How? What habits are you going to place to do that? I'm going to get fitter. Then you need to make a habit of 1 donut a week. Don't eat after supper. Walk 3 or 4 times a day. I'm going to grow as a Christian. And you need to make a habit of when and where I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray as a habit every morning before I go to work. Or I want to grow as a person or in my profession, then I'm going to read a book a month. Or whatever. Make yourself some habits. Make some decisions of what habits to do. See, don't wait till Sunday morning. You know this because you're here on January 1. You don't wait till Sunday morning to decide if I'm going to church or not. Did you know that's what a lot of people do? They wait till Sunday morning, oh, see how I feel. Now, if you're sick, you feel sick, you don't come. But, this is a habit that you make, going to church. I'm going to read my Bible. It's a habit I make. So, remember good habits. Number 5, remember to keep an attitude of praise and thanksgiving. Now, how many think we do have many things to be thankful for? I got to vote. All right, it was almost unanimous. We have many things to be thankful for. And we need to keep being thankful. When you are thankful, we have a better attitude just in our whole life, and also to keep the fire, to keep the enthusiasm. But I really think one of the first things people do that they lose that enthusiasm in serving God is they quit thanking Him. They don't say thank you. They don't say anything praise to Him. Whoops. They just distance themselves from God a little bit. That's dangerous. This is my recommendation. Start every day with thanksgiving and praise. Every day, every day, every day. When you get up in the morning, good morning, God. Thank you for a new day of life, for rest through the night, for all the things you give me. Start every day. Make that a habit. Start every prayer with thanksgiving and praise. Every prayer, before you ask Him for anything, thank Him for something. Because there's things to be thankful for. Because the first step away from God is to not be thankful. So remember that. Then number 6, remember that you reap if you sow. Now, if you sow corn or tomato, you got a pretty good idea when you're going to get some. But when you work with people in spiritual things, it's hard to see it happening a lot of times. What's working? Because people are like this. They go forward and backward. Or at least I do. Well, I think I'm going somewhere good. Well, then, I made that mistake. But it's hard to see when you try to witness to somebody, you're trying to help a new Christian grow. It's hard to see. But I do believe that you will reap after you sow. Galatians 6:9, let's not get tired of doing what is good. At the right time, we'll reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Now, here's one thing we do know. You won't sow if you don't reap it all. I'm going to give another Sandy illustration here because I was talking to my daughter about this week, or my son, I don't remember which one. Sandy, in my mind, died too young. I wanted her to live on and on. But I tell you what she did do. She lived a whole lot in the years she had. She didn't just waste time.
Amen.
She was always doing something for God and for somebody, all the time. And I got cards and emails and text messages from people about what Sandy had done in their lives 30, 40 years ago, things I didn't even know about. Sandy was the one who helped me learn how to pray. Sandy was the one who discipled me and taught me to read the Bible. Sandy was the one who helped me with this problem I was going through. She did a lot in the time she had. and sowed a lot, which reaped a lot in people's lives. Not always just for her good, but in people's lives for the kingdom. That's what I'm talking about. We ought to want to help people to God, to heaven. And we have to sow to see that reap. But if we do, God promises we will reap, and to be blessings for them and for us and for the kingdom. There's no telling what you and me can do for others in the kingdom if we just won't quit, if we just won't lose heart at the fire, which is so easy to do. And 7, we need to remember eternity. Eternity. It ain't just this world. There's an eternity. And so this is I think it's a 2-minute clip of Francis Chan with his, if you've probably seen it, with his long rope illustration of eternity.
Is a timeline of your existence. You just exist forever. You see this red part? This would represent your time on earth. You've got a few short years here on earth, and then you've got all of eternity somewhere else. This is your existence. And what blows me away is some of you, all you think about is this red part. It's all you think about. You're consumed with this. You go, oh man, I can't wait till here. You know, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to save so I can really enjoy this part right here. What about this? What about all this stuff? It's crazy to me because the Bible teaches that what I do during this little red part determines how I'm going to exist for millions and millions and millions of years forever.
Wow. That's what we need to think about. We just hear a tiny span compared to forever, to eternity. We want to keep the fire. We need to remember eternity. And I hope we do. And you have, and let's keep on keeping the enthusiasm as we serve God, that it is still a good thing to do, to give my best for God and for others.